So now we will learn about this global scope and the local scope, right? Let's say global scope means the variable is available globally, and local scope means within the local scope only it will be available. I will try to show you a simple scenario. For example, let's say that var a is equal to 5 is there. Okay, so this is a variable. Now I am having a function get text or something like this. It is there. So I am using console.log of a. Okay, so I am calling here get text. Now I am calling here. So now here I have created a variable var a is equal to a, and I am trying to access this variable inside a function. Okay, inside a function. This function is different, and here I am calling this function. Now let's say what will be the output here. So the output is 5. I am able to access this one. So the variable which is defined outside of this function, okay, I am able to access this function. So this function, let's say that it is in the global scope. So this one is global scope. Any variable, if you declare it at the top, it will be in the global scope. Now for example, let's say that we are having another variable where a is equal to 10 here. Okay, I am having another variable in this function. Now let's try to print this console.log a. So if we try to print the value, now it has been changed to 10. So now in this function, this variable has been declared. So this is called as a local scope. So this variable exists up to in this scope only. This is called as a local scope. For example, outside I will try to do console.log of a. So now what could be the output here? The output will be this variable will exist until this function only, and this variable exists up to the end of this program. So now the console.log a means it will print 5, whereas the function it will print 10. So try to see here, 5 is this one and get text 10 is this one. So this is called as a global scope, and this is called as a local scope. For example, let's say that I am removing this all the things. I am having var a is equal to 10, and I will try to access console.log of a. So then what could be the output here? So let's try to call this get text also. Okay, if I try to call this one, so you are getting an error that a is not defined. So why? So here in this function, okay, in this function I have declared var a is equal to 10. So that means this variable will be existing in this scope only. This is called as a local scope. So whenever you have mentioned a function, so it will be a function inside that function only. The variable's declaration will exist inside this function only. So now when you have declared this function, and I am trying to access this function outside the I am trying to access this variable outside the function. So when I am trying to access this variable outside the function, means it will not exist. Why? Because this variable will be existing inside this. One second. Hello. Yeah. So now here, this is a function, and we have declared the variable inside this function actually. So now this variable works inside this function only. So that means this is a local scope. So when I am trying to access this variable outside this function, it will not access it. Why? Because var a is not defined, it is trying to say. For example, let's say that I have removed this a is equal to 10, where I have removed it. Now let's see what will happen. If I try to run it, then also what it is trying to say, actually this one will work. So it will be having use strict here. A is not defined. Normally if you try to take this one, and if we try to execute in the inspect element, that is equal to 10 console.log. If I try to take okay. So that's my mistake only. So now what it is happening is here. So now I will try to paste it at the top. So now what is happening here? We have declared this variable without var. Okay. Now what will happen? We have learned about this variable hoisting. You remember about this one, variable hoisting we have remembered. So now when I try to access this console.log of a, so this function is not yet called, but we are trying to access the variable. So at the time this variable is not yet declared. So because of the reason we got it. But here if I try to mention at the bottom, okay, I try to mention at the bottom. Now this time we are accessing the function. and it has seen that a is equal to 10. So this has been initialized but not declared. Automatically the variable will be declared at the top here like this. Okay, so now there is no need for us to declaration. Now this one will become global scope automatically. Now if I try to see the output, see here, now we are able to get the output as 10, 10. So why? Because we have declared this one without any var. If we didn't declare a variable and we initialize the value inside this one, JavaScript will think that, okay, he hasn't declared anything. So maybe this one will be a global scope variable, I think. So it will automatically hoist the variable at the top. So like this, it will try to do it. Now this variable has become automatically global scope. Now here you are assigning some value and here you are trying to print the value. So this is how it will behave. Two things I have told you. For example, here I have done this one as var a is equal to 5 means now the a is a global scope variable, and here you have mentioned a is equal to 10. If you mention here another var a value means this a value and this a variable will be different. This belongs to the local scope. A is equal to 10 means this one will be updated, and here you'll be able to see 10, 5 output actually. Why? Because this a belongs to the global scope and this console.log a belongs to this local scope. If I remove this one, now a has not been declared. Automatically at the top we have declared as a is equal to 5. Now a is equal to 10 means this a will be updated to 10. Now you can get the output as 10, 10. But if you write this console at the top here, then you will get 5, 10. Okay, so that's the different thing. If I don't declare anything, now we doesn't have any declaration here. So JavaScript will automatically hoist the variable at the top, and now you will get a reference error. Why? Because this method is still not yet called. Before that calling only, we are trying to console.log of a. So this line has not been executed up to now. So now if you try to paste it at the bottom, now you may be able to get the output of 10, 10. So this is called as an global scope and the local scope. So these are the global scope and the local scope. So first in the JavaScript, so we have only the two variables. This one is called as a functional scope also. Some people will call it as a functional scope. So normally we can call it as a local scope also, functional scope, or this one we call it as a global scope. Okay, so this one is called as a global scope. So this is a global scope variable. So these are the different types of scope available in the Java.